Bruce Willis has worked incredibly hard throughout his Hollywood career, and he'd still be pushing himself to the limit if health complications hadn't popped up. In the 2020s, the actor had made himself comfortable in the B-movie space, lending about 20 minutes of his precious time to several movies each year. For example, Willis had a whopping 12 film credits in 2022 alone. Unfortunately, this was the same year he was diagnosed with aphasia, which was later revised to frontotemporal dementia. The elderly Willis might have been content that he was no longer a box office draw, but the younger Willis wasn't happy. Shortly after landing his breakout role in Die Hard, the actor starred in several unsuccessful films, placing the future of his career in doubt. Look Who's Talking, Look Who's Talking 2, and The Last Boy Scout were great, but they were nowhere close to what was defined as a mega hit at the time. Thankfully, Tarantino happened. Pulp Fiction jump-started his career once again, allowing him to enjoy many more years of success. However, he was never a direct pick. He had to convince the director. Lovable losers populate all sorts of Hollywood films, but none are as memorable as James Butch Coolidge. He is a daring, impetuous southpaw boxer, enjoying a Romeo and Juliet relationship with his girlfriend Fabian. And he spends far too much time dreaming of the heavyweight belt, yet he is nearing retirement. His story is part of the film's three narratives, intertwining to weave an unsettling tapestry of life in California's underworld. How Bruce Willis put a Hollywood face on dementia. Celebrities champion many causes, but Bruce Willis has unwittingly become a poster boy in a way that nobody ever expected. The boxer's problems begin when crime boss Marcellus Wallace, Ving Rhames, bribes him to throw the fight. Instead of doing as instructed, he decides, unwisely, to instruct an associate to bet on him. After winning the fight, he hides out with Fabian in a motel, planning to leave for Tennessee the next morning to collect his money. However, Fabian forgets something important, a watch. Early in the film, we learn that Butch's father, a Marine fighting in the Vietnam War, left him a gold watch and asked him to always treasure it. Having vowed never to dishonor the man who sired him, he heads back to his apartment to retrieve the prized watch. There, he finds a gun lying on the kitchen counter. Shortly after, he comes face to face with Wallace's henchman, Vincent Vega, exiting the bathroom. End of the road for him? Butch is so cool that the idea of killing him off seems like a particularly egregious crime. But don't worry, that doesn't happen. Willis's familiarity with Tarantino's work helped him land the role. During a sit-down with Variety, the film's producer Lawrence Bender opened up on several behind-the-scenes details about the movie. One of the most intriguing revelations revolved around finances. Made by Miramax in just under 4 months, this tense, acid-tongued crime drama exemplified what a skilled filmmaker like Tarantino could do on a shoestring budget. Apparently, he strictly stuck to the $8 million allocation. So much so that they returned $500,000. He had been offered $8.5 million just in case costs went a little overboard. The loot? A whopping $213 million at the global box office. Interestingly, the budget could have been lower if Tarantino had cast a lesser-known actor for the role of Butch as initially intended. The director didn't want someone who would steal the spotlight from Arrest, but he also realized that in order to be taken seriously in Hollywood, he needed to make a movie that everyone wanted to see. And the easiest way to achieve that was casting a proper star. Willis had starred in several box office bombs in the late 80s and early 90s, but he was still wildly popular internationally, so Tarantino felt it wise to cast him. His upfront pay was allegedly $800,000, while John Travolta, another star with a fading career at the time, received only $140,000. How shouldn't? Will Bruce Willis's career be remembered? Will Bruce Willis's career beyond the Die Hard film series stand the test of time? According to Bender, Harvey Keitel linked Tarantino with Bruce Willis. The producer recalls that he and the director went to see the star at his house in Malibu. Once there, they realized Willis could recite basically the entire plot of Reservoir Dogs, confirming he was a big Tarantino fan. With such a revelation, it didn't take long to get the deal done. Tarantino also revealed in Two Bears, One Cave with Tom Segura, that the actor was very interested in the role. In fact, he had already read the script by the time they met. According to him, Willis wanted to play Vincent, but he convinced him to play Butch instead. And the actor's acceptance line was something golden, something that would have probably been included in the script too. He said, "Quentin, the shortest sentence in the Bible is, 'Jesus wept.' The shortest sentence in Hollywood is, 'I'm in.' And I'm in." And just like that, Willis was Butch. Pulp Fiction convinced studios Bruce Willis was more than just an action star. After starring in Die Hard, Willis had been boxed into the league of 80s action stars. But that's not all he wanted. After all, he was never an action star, having initially made a name for himself in the comedy drama series Moonlighting. The desire to be seen as versatile made him star in films like In Country and Look Who's Talking. Sadly, these never grossed highly. Neither were they sophisticated enough to catch the eyes of award organizations or major studios. The consensus was that Willis should stick to action, since his non-action movies hadn't performed so well. Then came Pulp Fiction, why the Pulp Fiction briefcase is the best MacGuffin in movie history. There have been a number of iconic movie MacGuffins over the years, but here's why the Pulp Fiction briefcase stands above the rest. Even though Pulp Fiction has some gory scenes featuring Bruce Willis's character, the actor's arc is anchored in drama rather than action, and the movie is refreshingly silent and contemplative. All you hear besides the dialogue are ambient sounds of doors shutting, dogs barking, and occasionally vehicles hooting. Thanks to Bruce Willis's wonderful performance, the star was granted proper carte blanche. While the likes of Chuck Norris and Steven Seagal remained stuck in the action genre, Willis did whatever he wanted, whether it was sci-fi films like The Fifth Element and 12 Monkeys or the animated flicks Beavis and Butthead Do America and Rugrats Go Wild.